want us to give the Almighty God a shouting, raving, hallelujah! Amen!
People believe God because of you.
It's because people are stupid. I want to hear away.
What do you want? Give me each other. What do you want?
Who is your God, Lolade? A boy from a no-name streets in our Belkuta, drenched in 7 generations of poverty.
Everything they have tonight is going to crumble. Leave now.
I love you.
Oga, what? Mama is on the phone.
You know what, guys? For a minute, I thought I was done with movie reviews for 2022. And that's because the kind of movies I usually get in December are not the kind of movies I like to review. You know, it's just the fun, the cruise, and all that stuff. But guys, Toyin said to me, hold my cup. And well, here we are, because I'm about to review the movie Ijakumo. First, let me tell you, I think that Toyin is very daring because, you know, December people are releasing family movies and all that fun movies, but she decided to give us a rated 18 movie that is currently doing the numbers in the cinema. You want to know why? I will tell you why in this review. Of course, you know that it's not because the movie is 100% perfect, but because, you know, for some reason it's Toyin, and I think that she has something I called the new that keeps people going back for our production. Majorly, the things that work for me are definitely the element of surprise. Like, Moashuk, you know, at some point, like, you know, Fema confused me. I was almost getting confused, you know, but thinking about it, I'm like, oh, that's true. Let's get into this review, guys, as I have a lot of things to say about this movie, Ijakumo. Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Yet another movie review before the end of 2022. Trust me, I didn't see that coming. But here we are. My name is Moyosarolu. If you're new on my channel, yes, I am a movie reviewer from Lagos, Nigeria, and I also do lifestyle content. So please remember to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel before you go. Like I said, I'm about to review the movie Ijakumo, the Born Again Stripper. Well, very awkward, right? I know. When I also heard the title, I'm like, what is that again? Well, I really cannot say if the translation, the literal translation of Ijakumo is born again stripper, because that particular word in Yoruba, I really don't know the meaning, but that's what Toyin has given us, and that's what we are accepting. And yes, awkward because it's December. A lot of people want to release holiday movies, family movies, but Toyin, who is very daring, decided to release a movie rated 18, and she says, go see it. Well, it is definitely a daring move, and here we are watching it, talking about it, and I'm about to tell you everything I saw. If you're watching my review for the first time, well, I'll tell you how it works. When I review a movie, I tell you about the story, the production, the cast, the crew, the actors, performances, what worked, what did not work, you know, overall rating and all that good stuff is what I do when I review movies right here. So yes, let's quickly get started officially. This movie, Ijakumo, is a Toyin production. And as we all know, Toyin Abraham tries to give us something every year to hold on to. She brings out a major production every year. And we've seen that with the like of Alakada Reloaded, Ghost and the Tattoo, Prophetess. And here we are with Ijakumo. One thing about this movie that got me really attracted to it is the fact that I followed the entire process. I followed Toyin Abraham on Instagram, and I saw her post everything about the production, the behind the scene. She did a lot of teasers. I saw when she called for people to join her on set for the church scene. I saw all of these things, and I thought that she was really, she dedicated, she put herself in this work, and I can imagine how she feels right now, seeing what it's like. I mean, it's a movie rated 18, and it's already doing the numbers only few days after release. It's not even 1 week yet, so you can tell that there is something about Toyin that keeps people coming back. I don't know if it's that they really like her, or it's about the work she puts out, or whatever it is, but hey, kudos to her because she keeps getting her people, and her people keeps coming through for her. That said, let's talk about this movie. Again, it's Toyin Abraham movie. It was written by Toyin Abraham. It was produced by Toyin Abraham, and I'm sure she did a lot of work. The money and all that stuff in line with this production. So it's a Toyin Abraham movie. Hold that to heart already, because I'm sure you already know. This movie had Toyin Abraham and people who I think that she has not worked with before, on a personal level. Of course, she has worked with Kunle Remi before, and Kunle Remi is in this movie. She worked with Kunle Remi on the movie Prophetess, and I think that I liked their I liked the synergy, I liked the combination, and now bringing Kunle Remi back to work on this one with her, I think it was a really great move because Kunle Remi is a fantastic actor, and he had yet another amazing year, and I can't wait to see what 2023 is going to hold for him. So Kunle Remi is in the movie. He played the lead role alongside Lolade Okunsanya. I think that's her name. And I think she's a fantastic actor. I think that Toyin Abraham has given us someone that we all need to look out for in the new year, because I'm sure that this movie would push her all the way up. I can only imagine the attention she's getting right now from giving an amazing performance in this movie. This movie also had Bimbo Akintola, who I've not seen in a movie in a while. And yes, she did well, but I will give you my reservations about what I think they were trying to portray and how that worked for them as I continue with this review. I also have Antalaniyo, a couple of other people, but again, these were the people. Oh, why would I forget Olumide Owuru, who was also brilliant, played the young Kunle Remi, the pastor, in the movie. So yes, the major cast are those I'm going to talk about. I know that there's this other guy, I can't remember his name now. If I do, I'm just going to put his picture up here. He played Kunle Remi's brother as well in the movie. Anto was in the movie, played the tech girl. I'm trying to just pull the names out of my head as I remember them. But again, these are some of the people that you would hold to heart as I continue to talk about this movie, or as I continue to review the movie. And the story is a story that had a couple of twists and turns, and perhaps one of the things that worked for me watching this movie, I think I'm rushing too much, but again, when I get to what works for me, I will tell you that this is one of the things that worked for me, the twist and the turn, because at some point the story actually was looking really flat. I was getting a bit tired, but the twist and turn they introduced kind of just gave it light, and it got me. In fact, at a particular time in the cinema, we're all screaming like, "Are you serious? I didn't see that coming." And I think that the element of surprise, if Nollywood can continue to give us things like this, we may perhaps begin to forgive all the other things, because it just really shows that we're not coming back to watch the same content. This was different on all levels and all shades. It's a story of a lady who had a lover. They were in Abeokuta together. That's the major setting of the movie, Abeokuta and Lagos. So we saw them in Abeokuta together. They were in love. They were trying to, push their bounds, make money, and all that. Olumide Owuru, I don't know the name of the lady that played young Toyin Abraham, but it was Olumide Owuru playing young Kunle Remi, and the other lady playing young Toyin Abraham. And Toyin Abraham is from a background, a spiritually inclined background, not in the Christian religious way, as you might want to think about it, but rather in a traditional religious way. Her father was very powerful. We saw him display that a couple of times, and their love story was also in another part. And all of these things we later got to know. It was not what started the movie, because the movie in itself started with the life of these people already laid bare to us. Toyin being the rich, powerful woman, we were introduced to. Remi being a pastor with his wife Lillian Afegbaye, and the other members of the crew that were introduced to gradually in the course of the movie. But the major thing the movie exposed us to, or the center of the movie, would definitely be revealing why Toyin was after revenge and all that stuff, in line with a character in the movie. And that's based on what Kunle Remi's character did to her, betrayed her, and then she had to come back for her revenge, even after Kunle Remi thought that she had died or something. So yeah, that's the entire package we saw in this movie. So Toyin trying to get her revenge, she recruited a stripper to get to Kunle Remi, because she knows that that's one way to get to Kunle Remi. And then, in and out, it was about the revenge, the action, the storytelling, and all that stuff. I'm trying not to reveal so much about this story for those who haven't seen it. But again, at the end of the day, Toyin being the one seeking for revenge, got what she wanted, but that was not without people losing their lives, and not without the twist we saw at the end with the stripper and a sister, and all that dramatic turn. Well, I think that's the much I want to say, because of those who haven't seen this movie. If you've seen it, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, but let's quickly get to some of the things I think worked for me for this movie. Well, one of the many things that I must say worked for me in this movie is the performances, the acting. It was really good. I think that Toyin chose amazing actors, even though at some point I did feel like some of them were overdoing it or were not doing enough. And that would take me to the cabal, the syndicate. And that because we had seen someone give us this light of the syndicate in a higher form or higher version, it just made me already have a template for what I would love to see if you're trying to tell that kind of story. And you guys know what I'm talking about, the king of boys. And that's what I wanted to say about and that's what I wanted to say about Bimbo Akintola earlier on, playing the lead in the syndicate. And I loved the element of surprise we saw at the initial stage when she was introduced, when they were at the table and Kunle Remi was summoned. And then I also loved how they were trying to tell the story of sometimes what is happening in the real world, with a lot of churches not being what they really are, because they are actually either being used for money laundering and all that stuff, which we know is the reality as we have it now, even though we've not really seen a lot of people being brought to book in that light. But we know this is what we see, the money laundering, the power behind the scene, and then there's a pastor on the scene. It feels like they are doing the work of the Lord, but we know that that's not true. So these are some of the things that we see in the real world, and that's what they were trying to portray in this movie. But then again, I felt like the syndicates were not as strong as they tried to portray them to be. I know that the first scene where they were introduced, it was really strong. I liked it. I liked the dialogue in that particular scene. In fact, at the particular time, we saw the other men on the table. They were the one conversing with Kunle Remi. I didn't even know that there was a Bimbo Akintola also on that table. And when she was revealed to us, it carried so much presence. The echo in the sound, everything just gave what it was supposed to give. The dialogue about who is your God, I am your God, I made you, it gave me what it was supposed to give. But I do not think that they were able to use that energy they had given us when the syndicates were introduced at the other part where we had to see the syndicate, because it now looked like I thought you guys said these people had so much power. How come they are now looking so powerless? How does a flash drive destroy everything in the twinkle of an eye? So it gave me a lot of questions. And if Bimbo Akintola had told Kunle Remi, I am your God, how come she got really scared at police coming to her house after some of the activities had been leaked by what Tony Abraham had set up as a form of revenge? There were a lot of not so good moments in there, but I thought that they would have done more with that particular syndicate. It could have been better, they could have been stronger, but nonetheless, I get what they were trying to do, and yeah, that's it. So I think that particular feel, just I really liked it. The element of surprise that I saw, the performances, it was really good. The actors did what they were supposed to do, particularly Kunle, Remi and Lolade, who were in between the good laughs. They were giving us good laughs with their conversation, with their body language, their dialogue, the acting, their facial expressions. I think they really did so well. Both of them, their collaboration was, it was working for me. I enjoyed it. It was so good. I didn't want it to end. Of course, I felt like they probably would have toned down a little bit on the language, especially the rated scenes and languages. But I think at the end of the day, it also still gave what it was supposed to give, because we had already been warned that we're about to watch X-rated movie. So yes, all of that in the mix, the performance was really, really good. I felt like the entire production was also not bad. I love the locations they chose, the houses they used. The church setting was really beautiful. The singing was good. Lolade embodied the choir or chorister character so much. I mean, it was just really giving real life scenario, if you would put it that way. And I felt it. I felt a character so much. Even the strippers club, I've not been to any before, but they just really got all the things they were supposed to get together in line with location and shots and angle. Yes, a bit of blurry scenes here and there, but it didn't take so much away from the entire movie. I also did like that the subtitle, most times you do not know what subtitle does, because this movie is a blend of English and Yoruba. Of course, I think I will give it like a 50-50% when it comes to the use of the language. I think it was on a 50-50 scale. And sometimes you don't know that, okay, for someone like me, I actually even read subtitle, although I understand Yoruba, right? And I'm always on the lookout for subtitle that is almost, without error. And I think this was almost without error. And I was just really appreciative that they paid attention to the slightest detail in that form. The subtitle was good, like it was good. I didn't see those mundane, annoying errors in words or pronunciation or sentence or grammar. I could hardly pick any, and that was just telling me that they did pay attention to details. It was probably not rushed, That's why we could get this almost perfect subtitling for the movie, and I give them kudos for that. That's also something that worked for me. The lighting, the VFX, not 100%, but I think that I saw some intentionality in what they tried to do, particularly at the end where we had the fight scene and all that stuff. I think I liked it. Yeah, characterization. I do not think that, I feel like for what is worth, this movie spent so much time building on the backstory than, focusing on or building on what is in the present, because I felt like there were so many things that could have been done with the present that was not done, and then it now looked like those things were now rushed because they had spent so much time showing us the backstory. I like their use of flashback. I like that we didn't have to go start from the village and come to the city. I like that we had started the real story and then they were now giving us the backstory in between conversation, and that was really brilliant for me, the use of flashback. And I also like that the scenes picked up really fast, at some point at the beginning, especially the conversations were really fast. They didn't waste so much time, although some scenes later on started looking draggy and I was getting really tired. I'm like, okay, can we just get to the bottom of the whole conversation and all that stuff? But I think that the dialogue kind of made it work for me, because when I'm tired, there is Kunle Remi saying something that is funny, there's Lolade doing something that I'm enjoying. So the sync was just in between. There was always something to lighten up the mood, regardless of how lengthy I thought the movie was. There was just always something in between, and I think that I liked it. I liked especially the twist at the end. Trust me, while a lot of people might not be comfortable with how they tried to twist the story, introducing the old twin part of the entire thing, but I thought that it was brilliant because first of all, we are working on a new terrain, and I like stories that I'm tired of going to the cinema to see the same recycled story over and over again. I thought that this particular story is not something that I would have been able to predict at all. I thought that it was really interesting in the sense that it's not the everyday or regular kind of story. So I just really like the twist that we had at the end. And then although I had reservation about how the syndicate was brought down so easily, like I rightly said, and how we still had a lot of question in between. So what happened to this person? So what happened to that person? Yes, we saw what happened with Kunle Remi. He took the bullet so easily. His brother, who we probably thought should have been the feeble one, was not the one who gave us a show that kept us screaming with Toyin Abraham. So the twist, I would believe that that's probably the twist they wanted us to see. The fact that we couldn't exactly predict what they were going to do next, which was interesting for me, if you ask me. But at the same time, I felt like a lot could have been done with the story that would have given it more depth, unlike what we saw. But at the end of the day, the intentionality was still felt. I could sense the intention. I could see that they were trying to do something here, and that's why I'm allowing or permitting or trying to overlook the other things that they could not do, because I could see what they were trying to do, if you understand what I mean. And that's what gives this movie, the gives feeling that I have about it, because I actually went into the cinema. I was at the premiere. I went into the cinema with no expectation at all. I was hoping that what I had been reading was not just all hype, but I think that it was really beautiful to see that there was just something to take away from the movie, and that's one thing that I really enjoy. I felt like they could have done more as well with the story itself, bringing out more points from the story, knowing that this is something that is realistic, the old church cabal thing that we've been hearing about. I felt like they could have dug deeper into that story and bring out something more deep from that storyline. However, they still tried to go the way they wanted to, and I would say that they didn't do so bad, at the end of it all. So because of the type of movie this is, I know that I've been mixing what I like and what I did not like together, because it's very difficult to, pick them out, because they are kind of in sync, if you understand what I mean. Another thing I also did not like about the movie is the advert placement. I used to think that Toyin Abraham, had nailed or understand how to place adverts in her movies, but I think that she didn't do that rightly this time around, or maybe because the kind of product she was trying to place is not the regular. Usually Toyin Abraham would have drinks, food, support her movies, biggie, so it was easy to place those things or those advert. But this time she was trying to place an advert for a Bitcoin company, and the conversation just got me like, just felt like all those kit makers that are doing boring stuff on Instagram, and then they're trying to put an advert in between. So that particular part, I didn't really like it. It was just giving me chance of play moment. But again, apart from that, which gave me some not so good feeling, another thing I also did not like about the movie is the end. I felt like it was trying to end on a very high note, and then they brought it down again with that particular scene of back to Olumorok with a bodyguard, just looking, and I'm like, okay, maybe we should have just ended it with where she kills that guy and that's it, but that kind of just took it down, because now we're now waiting that, okay, so what then happens? And then we saw the end credits rolling, and we're like, okay, so maybe if it had ended in that particular scene, because that scene got a lot of us shouting and clapping in the cinema, and if it had ended that way, maybe it would have been fine, or maybe with something else. But ending with that, or coming back to Olumorok with Toyin Abraham dragging her hair like this and then looking all out, I'm like, nah. It's because we were actually waiting for maybe something was going to happen, and then the end credit came rolling. It was so slow, everything was happening so slow. I'm like, okay, no, you should have made that particular scene the end, because that one got a lot of resounding applause and cheer than this one that you're trying to show us. So sometimes when people end movies like that on a very low note, it just takes out the memory that people already gathered from other things that they saw. And that's what I noticed, on the faces of the people that we went to see this movie together. But nonetheless, I think that the movie it gave some things that could make all those other things I do not like forgivable. I think that I was pleasantly surprised, maybe because I went with an open mind, and I was just like, are you serious? You could try do, that kind of feeling. That was what I got. So I would say also that if you want to see this movie, you go with an open mind. And again, remember, it's rated 18. You're going to see a lot of uncensored, scenes and conversations. So yeah, just be open, be ready for it. But at the same time, it is what it is. That's why it's rated 18. It was not bad. It was a good watch. I enjoyed it. And I think that generally I'm going to rate it uh maybe a 5/10 on the average, because of the other things I thought that the story itself was lacking. I think I'm going to rate it a 5/10. Majorly the things that work for me are is definitely the element of surprise. Like mo wa shook, at some point, like Fema confused me. I was almost getting confused. But thinking about it, I'm like, oh, that's true. I like when I have those moments, like, oh, that's true. I remember I saw it. Maybe that's what I like it. So I know that Nollywood is still trying to get momentum when it comes to making movies. So I'm not going to give them so much to work with, I'm not going to give them a lot of expectations on their shoulder. But when they do something that at least we can hold on to, I will say, thank you for giving us something to hold on to, because trust me, it's not easy to make movies. I'm also about to become a producer because I'm going into production school next year. So let me be greeting those that are already doing it. I try you, because it's not easy something at all. But you guys get what I mean. I think that this is good. A good surprise in December, and I think that you should go see the movie. 5/10, I'm rating it. Let me know what you think, what you like and did not like about this movie in the comment section down below. I would love to hear from you, and hopefully, like I said, I'll be bringing you the movie of the movie, Buka Street, shortly. Guys, this is about all the things I have in my head right now that I can talk about, as long as this movie Ijakumo is concerned. Till the next one, I can't wait to talk to you guys again. Goodbye.